Okay.
You from here, so you can just look here the whole time.
We now welcome the number 8 ranked UFC women's strawweight in the world, Michelle Waterson. Michelle, thank you for the time.
Of course, guys. Thanks for having me.
We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hi, Michelle.
How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for asking. People are saying that there's beef going on with you and Angela. Is this true, or did I miss something?
I think you might have missed something. I don't know. If there is, I don't know about it. I'm just excited to get in there and throw some leather.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like I know you guys did the video together. I think a lot of people love the Don't Rush challenge with yourself and all the other women of MMA. Can you talk about how that one came together in the pandemic?
Here's the thing, guys. Like, we're in the hurt business. You know, the objective of the fight is to inflict the most damage. There's no way around that. And so I guess in that sense, both of us want to win. But at the end of the day, we are more alike than we are different. We have more similarities than we have differences, and so we can bond and try to share some positivity in the world in that sense as well. And I think that it just goes to show you our sportsmanship and our respect for one another in this sport.
You're coming off a close one against Carla. What did you take from that fight to help you grow as a fighter when you went back to the gym?
To not be so hung up on strategy. I think that it's kind of hard to say. It's always going to be those shoulda, woulda, couldas. And what I understand is that everything happens for a reason, and I had to come back to the gym and understand to not leave it in the hands of the judges. It was my fight to be won, and it slipped through my fingers, and that's my fault. So it was a very close fight, and it didn't have to be. So that's what I learned is to take control of the situation, and if I have the opportunity to finish the fight, then to finish the fight.
So Michelle, I know you're very popular, and being even 0-2, I think a lot of people say, Karate Hottie isn't about to be cut from the UFC. But, is there pressure, you don't want to get that third loss in a row, obviously. Is that in your mind, or how do you separate that when you're in camp?
It's not in my mind. My mind, all camp is just to improve and to get better and to unleash what I have inside of me. I've been fighting for over 13 years. I've been doing martial arts for over 25 years. I mean, it's insane that I don't go in and step into the octagon and unleash all of my tools. And so that's just what I've really embraced. This fight camp is to love what I do, to go out there and utilize all the tools that I have, and to not restrict myself from any of it, because it is MMA. I'm not just a stand-up fighter. I have 9 submissions under my win. I have an amazing, world-renowned wrestling coach. I have an amazing husband who was an amazing boxer in his own right, who's been sharpening my tools as a boxer. So I have all these tools. I'm just gonna let it all out.
Final question: what does Angela Hill bring as an opponent?
I think Angela Hill is hungry. I think that she has a lot of grit. I think she's riding on this momentous string of fights that she's had. She's a volume striker, and she's game. Those are the things that she presents, and those are the things that I'm ready for.
Thank you, Michelle. Good luck.
Thank you.
We will take the next set of questions from Ezekiel Berganzi with Super Luchas.
Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So, how do you feel now that on short notice you became the main event of this evening?
It's really exciting. I am grateful that the UFC put trust in Angela and I to put on a show strong enough to uphold the main event, and I know that we will deliver. The strawweights always deliver.
And what adjustments did you make on your game plan after your last fight?
I think it's just to let it fly, honestly. sometimes it takes a couple of fights for things to come out that you've been working on. And every fight I learn and I grow and I evolve as a fighter, and I allow my weaknesses to become my strengths. So when you're fighting in the sport of MMA, there's so many things to focus on, and so I just focus on being the best mixed martial artist that I could be.
And you and Angela both come with losses, so I really expect that you know are going to fight really with this hunger of winning. No, so what kind of fight do you expect, taking account this fact?
I think you hit it on the nail when you said that we're both really hungry to get back in there and get in the win column, especially after those controversial fights. And that's what it is. I'm hungry and I'm looking to fill my belly with that W. And so I know she is too, but I'm starving.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
And we will take our next questions from Danny Seguro with MMA Junkie.
Hey, Michelle. Just last weekend, we saw Alistair Overeem, a veteran of the sport, say basically like he was understanding that he was on his last title run. You're 34 years old. I know you're still in shape and still competing with the best. But I'm wondering, do you kind of feel like that? Do you feel like the clock is ticking for you here and you got to turn things around? Or do you see yourself still having a sort of long career?
I found myself falling into the trap of trying to look ahead and trying to map out my journey. And all that does is distract me from being in the moment. And so right now I'm in the moment. My focus and mission is to beat Angela this Saturday, and that's what I'm focusing on. And martial arts will always be a part of my life, regardless. But I'm not looking past Angela. My focus is this Saturday.
Mm. And speaking of Angela, her last bout was pretty controversial. I'm wondering if you got to see her last fight, and what did you think of it? Did you think that she got wrong there in the decision? Do you think she should have won that fight?
I think it depends on the type of style you like to watch. Do you like to watch a striker, or do you like to watch, a grappler who is constantly putting forward pressure and, controlling the cage? It really depends. That fight could have gone either way, the same as me and Carla's fight could have gone either way. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why they matched the two of us up.
So I'm guessing you thought she won since you're a striker and you like watching striking, or not?
I know I'm the karate hottie, but I wouldn't consider myself a striker. I would consider myself a mixed martial artist.
Mm.
And I have a lot of wins by submission. So, like I said, that fight could have gone either way. I did watch it back and turned off the commentating, and I thought that Claudia did enough to win.
And Angela recently entered the rankings, but a lot of people, even Claudia Gadelha, after the fight, said she was very underrated, and she's actually been among the top with for quite some time. Do you feel that way towards Angela? Do you feel like maybe she's a bit underrated in her career?
I think that Angela has done an amazing job at climbing up the ladder and taking fights and doing what she has to do to get noticed. She's a scrappy fighter and a volume fighter, and her skills have only been improving since she's come back to the UFC after becoming champion at Victa. I never underestimate any of my opponents that I step inside the cage with.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Good luck this weekend.
We will take our next questions from Van Tate with KRQE News.
What's going on, Michelle?
Hey Van, good to hear from you.
Yeah. Well, hey, so since you guys got bumped up to main event, and I know you're excited about being the main event, have you had to guard against like being too pumped up? Like just let it be the main event, just treat it as a regular fight.
I think that's kind of my MO anytime I come to fight for fight week is, regardless of its main event, first fight of the night, a fight in the back alley, or amongst a million fans, when you step into the octagon, it's just you and your opponent across the cage, and that's always been my go-to when it comes to how do I approach the fight.
And then each training camp has its own feel. How did you feel with this camp and as you head into this fight?
It was an amazing camp. I felt the fire in my heart grow each week, and I'm ready to just unleash, go out there and have some fun.
And what do you think you have to do to be successful in this fight?
I just have to be myself. Go out there, bite down on my mouthpiece, and let it go.
Do you feel like since you guys have that in common as far as being former Invicta champions, that's just another carrot on the table to fight for, right?
Absolutely. We're I fight because I want to win, and I want to beat the very best out there. So for sure, it'd be great on my resume.
Do you feel like you need this one as far as to keep your name in the conversation for the UFC strawweight title, as a contender and to get that shot?
Yeah, absolutely.
And could you elaborate on that? Why you feel like that?
Both Angela and I are chomping at the bits to get to the top, and there's kind of a stale, like it's kind of stagnant at the top because of the nature of what has happened, in the world today. Nina is out because she's getting ready to have a baby, and Suarez is injured. Rose just broke her nose, and so there's some wiggle room for who gets the next shot at the title, and I want it to be me.
And I know there's not going to be a crowd there and stuff like that, but do you guys still work on your entrance, how you want to come in, even without a crowd there? Do you still want to look fly when you're coming in?
Oh, I'm looking fly no matter what, even when I'm waking up. But we prepared for what it feels like to walk out without a crowd, and so it's like, what, I pull energy from the crowd, but now what do I pull energy from? I pull energy from the sound of my glove hitting her face. I pull energy from the sound of my shin hitting her thigh. I pull energy from the sound of her body hitting the mat. That's where I'll pull the energy from.
Hey, sounds like she's going to get roughed up a little bit. So, hey, thanks so much, Michelle. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Michelle. I apologize if this was asked already, but I saw, obviously, the fight got bumped up to main event. You guys are doing 5 rounds. Now, we've seen a couple other short notice main events come together. The Anthony Smith fight, and they ended up being 3 rounds. Can you give me an idea, like, did they ask you to do 5 rounds? Did you want to do 5 rounds?
It's a main event. You got to do 5 rounds. And I'm never one to shy down from a challenge, and this was an amazing challenge to take, and I was up for it.
Were you given that option, or did you immediately volunteer and say, I want to do 5 rounds?
I just figured that that's kind of the responsibility you take on as a main event fighter.
You've been in main events, big ones in the UFC. You've been here before, being under that spotlight. Do you embrace that, and do you believe that actually is? Because some people, they kind of fade under the spotlight. Some people shine under the spotlight. You've been a person who's kind of always embraced that. Do you kind of embrace this moment of kind of taking advantage of being the main event now?
I think you have to embrace all these special moments, because if you don't, they come and go, and then when you look back at it, you're like, man, I didn't appreciate that moment for what it was. This is such an amazing moment in my life. Why would I shy away from it? Why wouldn't I open up the curtains and breathe in that fresh air? This is historic. Sometimes, because I've been fighting for so long, I forget how cool it is to be doing what I get to do. And I do have to kind of sit down and smell the roses sometimes. If you don't, like, what's all the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears for? What is it for if you don't appreciate these moments?
Absolutely. With that being said, talked earlier about Angela having a bit of a controversial decision in her. You were also in a fight that was very, very close. Obviously, sport at the highest levels, you're not going to go out and knock out every single opponent you. But is there a point in a fight like this to go out and kind of put an exclamation point and leave no doubt especially coming off a very hard-fought split decision.
Yeah, there is. You don't want any doubt within your mind, with the judge's mind, and with the world. That is always, that should always be the objective. Since I've been fighting for the UFC outside of my UFC debut, I fought top 10 girls, always. And so when you get up to the top tier of competition, getting those finishes becomes so much harder. And I hope that people understand that, is because the competition is so thick and rich with talent and technique. Getting a finish isn't something that you can force, or it is something that that happens through in the moment. And so that's what I plan on doing is being in the moment. I'm not going to try to force anything, but for sure, the motivation is to finish the fight.
And last question, Michelle, when you look at her style, I don't want to pigeonhole her and say she's only a striker, but when she likes to strike. Do you feel like you've seen those holes, those openings in her game where you can take advantage of that and make this a more one-sided fight? Or, if the opportunity presents itself to get that finish, because you've had those dominant finishes, obviously, throughout your career.
Yes, like I said, the objective is to finish the fight, and I do think that she has holes in her game that I will capitalize on.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
And we will take our last set of questions from Cassandra Cusino with Las Vegas Sports Biz.
Hi there, Michelle.
How are you?
Good to see your face today. First question for me is, you were part of some of the early cards in Jacksonville in the smaller cage. Did you learn anything in that fight that actually you deemed to be helpful going into Apex?
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of being comfortable with the idea that there isn't a crowd, being comfortable with the idea that I could hear my corner and she could hear my corner. Understanding that I had to draw energy from different places other than the crowd. All those small little things, play a factor, and definitely we were able to kind of fine tune how we trained in order to prepare ourselves for that.
Second question is, in addition to some adjustments you've had to make in your career due to the pandemic, you're also a mom of a young daughter. I know a lot of schools are doing things a little differently. Can you talk me through some of the challenges that you face having a daughter while you're also trying to figure out this kind of new era in your career?
There's so many things that happen in my fight career that I learned that I can then transfer over into life lessons for myself and for my family and for my daughter. Something that really stuck out to me is how courageous and brave the UFC was in stepping outside of the comfort zone of the pandemic and moving forward and pressing forward and figuring out a way to give us all work and allow us all to continue to pursue our passions during this pandemic. It really inspired me to instill that within my daughter. Okay, this has happened. This is out of our control. So now what can we do to grow from this versus allow it to make us submit to it? There are always going to be problems in this world, and you have to figure out as an individual, how are you going to deal with this problem and how are you going to overcome this problem? And so, with the pandemic and my daughter, getting over the hump of homeschooling and having her understand to be more self-sufficient and having her be more outspoken when she's having trouble to her teacher over Zoom and to her parents, having her understand how to still socialize and connect with people over Zoom and while she's wearing a face mask and keeping her healthy and keeping her active. These are all things, and keeping her and teaching her the importance of nutrition and the importance of hygiene. These are all things that are going to help her in her future, regardless of what else is there to come.
And finally, for me, about, I guess, going back to 2011, Dana was adamant that there weren't going to be women fighting in the UFC, and here you are on short notice headlining a card. How does that feel for you? And do you think about those days when you thought maybe the door was closed, and do you embrace now how many opportunities you have in this promotion?
It is the coolest thing in the world. I remember being in my apartment, moving out to Albuquerque, New Mexico, still being a local fighter and having a vision board in my apartment. And at that time, Dana didn't think that he'd ever see girls in there. And I still had it on my vision board that I was going to be fighting for the UFC. And here I am, fighting for the main event, and it's amazing.
Thank you, Michelle. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. That is all the time we had for you.
Thanks, guys.
I have anything in my teeth.
I don't see anything. You want to scoot that way a little. There you go. Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything. I'm zooming down.
Okay, cool. As long as the camera can't see it.
That's the rule.
We now welcome the number 13 ranked UFC women's strawweight in the world, Angela Hill. Angela, thank you for the time.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cape Side Press.
Hey, Angela. I thought that there's beef with you and Michelle. I mean, did I miss something? Is this true?
There's no beef. I think I posted a screen grab of her kind of gargling, sucking up to Dana and Donald Trump on Instagram. So it just made me want to punch her a little more. I hate suck ups. I hate when people do that. So yeah, I think that's all people are talking about if they're saying there's beef. But Michelle's been cool to me. I've been cool to her in person, and it's just gonna go down the way it's always gonna go down.
Not many people have had the career resurgence that you have had. I mean, can you just talk about that a bit? Because, cut from the UFC, you come back, it was up and down for a minute. What helped you out in terms of staying focused back when things weren't so good when you came back to the UFC all the time?
Well, it was a weird one because I lost to two really good opponents, Rose and Tisha, when I first got cut. Then I went on a 4-fight win streak, and Invicta and won the title. And when I came back, I fought Andrade, who nobody else wanted to fight. So I've always been up against the hardest people, and I've always done well against them or been competitive against them. And for whatever reason, when it didn't go my way, I still didn't get the respect that people who were paying attention thought I deserved. So just having those motivators, people who don't know me, hitting me up and saying, "Hey, we really respect your skills. We can see your potential. We know you're going to be great one day." And of course, like the people who do know me, who do see me working hard in the gym, see me coming back after a loss the next day in the gym and working on my mistakes and trying to fix them and become a more complete fighter. Those people always help motivate me and help keep me grounded and allow me to block out all the naysay and block out that feeling that you get when you look at your record and it's not what you expected it to be, especially being an undefeated kickboxing fighter. It wasn't what I expected, but I know that I'm stronger for it, and I know that when I do get that title, I'll be able to keep it just because I've been through so many ups and downs, and I've been able to just see my mistakes and fix them.
You recently made your debut on the broadcast as an analyst. How did you prepare for that? Did Dominic Cruz just give you a crash course at Alliance, or how did it go?
It's pretty funny. Like I picked Dom's brain a bit. I picked Karen Bryan and Laura Senko. They were all like really supportive. I've known those guys for a long time. And my husband actually was a big help because he would give me this Michael Bisping impersonation when he would relay just back and forth banter. So we would kind of banter about the fight card and try to anticipate what would happen, and then I try to roll with his silly like Michael Bisping impersonation comments, and it was pretty fun. So I think all those things helped me uh, just bring my best self forward when I did the broadcast, and I got a lot of good comments about it. So I'm pretty happy with how I did.
I mean, we all know Michael Bisping. Was his impersonation on point, or were you like, babe, that's not Mike at all?
It was pretty good. He's Scottish, so all the British guys, they kind of know each other's accents. It was a pretty good. I think it was spot on. He'll have to do it in front of Mike to get the verdict if it's good or not.
I mean, can we talk about a bit of history? Obviously, the first African American female to headline a UFC event. Talk about that, and also the fact that you go into it. You talked about you were on a couple downs before. You've never been more popular, female Cowboy Cerrone and everything. Just can you describe having that accomplishment at this time in your career?
It's pretty exciting. Like I said, when I fought Andrade, um, I thought it was a big deal because her next fight was going to be a title fight. Um, but we weren't co-main event. We weren't main event. And now that I'm fighting Michelle and it's main event after being my first co-main event with my fight against Gedalia, it's just I can see the growth. I can see how far I've come when it comes to just um, just like the fandom that's attached to me. I can see how far I've come skill wise. And I think people are finally seeing the value in what I bring to the table and what I bring to the strawweight division in women's MMA. So it's awesome to see it all finally coming to fruition after so much hard work, after just grinding for so many years and trying to make a name for myself. I feel like it's finally all happening, and I couldn't be more excited.
Does it hit you, first African American female to headline a UFC, or is it just not creep into your mind that kind of level of accomplishment or that honor?
It's an honor. It really is, and it's hard for me myself to be proud of myself because I'm so hard on myself in general. Like I don't want to celebrate just being the main event. I want to celebrate winning the main event. I want to celebrate having the first title shot and winning the first title shot as an African American woman. So my goals are so much higher than that it's hard to sit back and realize how big of a deal it is, but it's a big deal. And if I was sitting on the sidelines, if I was just a fan, an MMA fan, and I saw that, I'd be like, oh man, go ahead girl, like get that win, because you rarely see a woman, a black woman in the position that I am in MMA. And I'm not sure why it's so different for women, for black women, as it is for black men, but I think the public is kind of starved for that demographic to be represented. So I'm hoping to bring more eyes to MMA, bring more fans to MMA, and yeah, I'm happy to carry the torch.
Final one from me, just back to business. What does Michelle Watterson bring as an opponent?
Michelle's tricky. She has her hip throw. She has pretty quick transitions. If she gets to the ground, she's pretty good at like getting to the back fast, or going to an armbar or whatever. She's a good scrambler. So those are the things that I'll be looking for. Just trying to just trying to hit her more, trying to draw out her attacks, draw out that push kick to the knee, all her little things that she tries to do to frustrate people, and making sure that I'm pushing the pace and not letting her get ahead of me with her volume. I think that's one of the reasons why she usually gets decisions that are close, and it's one of the reasons I usually lose decisions that are close, is that my volume will be close to my opponents. Even if my volume is more, I'll still lose a close decision. So I just have to up the pace. I have to, be in her face, not let off the gas, and just mash her up.
Hey, thank you, Angela. Good luck.
Thanks.
We will take our next set of questions from Danny Segura with MMA Junkie.
Angie, you just mentioned that your career seems to be blossoming and you're getting all these opportunities. How does it feel to finally get the respect that you feel like you deserve? And also, when did you sort of feel like the tide was turning in your career?
I think after my first two, well, maybe back to the Escobar fight, I feel like that was a good reminder to myself of how dangerous I can be in there, and how versatile my striking was, and just the fact that I brought something to the table that a lot of girls in my weight class didn't have. So I think that was one of the first moments. But then after that, going on, getting two finishes in a row, the one in Mexico City and then the one in North Carolina. I think that's when people started paying attention, and they're like, man, this girl is actually something. We might have written her off a while back, but she's hit a good stride. She's figured herself out. Like, she's just going in there and beasting out on people. So after that fight, then I got the call to jump into another fight in New Zealand, and I only had I don't know, 2 weeks notice. And I think that's when people started picking up on the fact that I was about to have, I think, 6 fights in a calendar year, or not a calendar year, but 365 days. So that's when people were like, oh my God, she keeps fighting. So I think just me being as active as I've always wanted to be, I think Mick Maynard letting me be that active, and just bringing the fight every time I showed up. I never missed weight. I never looked slow or tired. You could never tell that I took the fight on short notice. And that's just been a product of my grind. Like, I've always been like that. I've always been in the gym, even when I've had 7 months in between fights. I was in the gym the entire time, treating it like a job. And I think for anyone, if you just keep grinding like that, if you treat MMA, or if you treat whatever you're doing like a job, even if it's a hobby, if it's just some goal that you aren't sure that you're gonna accomplish, but you're really passionate about it, if you stay consistent, then you're always gonna get ahead. And I feel like that's finally happening. I'm finally seeing the product of all the work that I put in.
For sure. And you're in one of the best divisions in the UFC. Do you think if all these opportunities keep coming your way, you can become a big star in that division, one of the key players, main players at 115 pounds?
Oh yeah, that's the main goal. The main goal is to keep fighting, keep winning, keep just showing people how good I am, and just becoming more of a finisher too. I think that's a big goal of mine. And after getting those 2 finishes in a row, I know that I know that it's within my ability in the UFC. Before, I've only been able to really knock out people outside of the UFC, but now that I've gotten some finishes inside the UFC, that's my main goal, is to be a finisher, to be one of the most dangerous women in the strawweight division, and to get the title. So yeah, a win over Michelle is definitely gonna put me up there. I think my last fight, if it had been a win, it would have put me up there already. So this is just my chance for redemption from that.
Yeah. And as far as you just mentioned how obviously a win here would be very beneficial to your career, but as far as like maybe numbers or names, I mean, beating Michelle Waterson, a veteran of the sport. Where do you think it'll put you in the division, and what kind of opponents will you be facing after?
I'm definitely thinking I'll be facing top 5 after that. But I don't even think that the top 5 are doing anything right now. Like, I know some of them are moving up a weight class, some of them are pregnant, some of them are injured. So if there's no top 5 girls available, I'm calling out the champ. I think it's fair. I think in just the way the strawweight division is looking right now, I think the timing would be good. And if there's someone who is supposed to get the shot before me, I'm definitely willing to fight that person. But yeah, it really pissed me off when I saw an article about Gadelia versus Alan Yan, and they're like, oh, the winner of this fight could be the next person to fight for the title. I'm like, that should be me, because I felt like I beat both of those girls. So if I need to fight again after this one, I'm willing to. But honestly, I think a title shot would be fair.
For sure. All right, Angie. Well, best of luck this weekend. Looking forward to your fight.
We will take our next questions from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Angela, going back to when your manager posted that image saying you were the first Black woman to headline a card, I thought, wow, that's really awesome. That's really cool. But we are living in a very interesting time in our country in terms of the significance of something like that right now. I know you said you don't want to let it, weigh on you too much with, you won't be the winner in the main event, but what does it mean to you, the significance of happening at this moment in time?
It's big, and I didn't even realize how big it was until he mentioned it to me. And I think in a time like this, people need heroes. People need someone to look up to, someone to root for, and just the fact that this hasn't happened yet is indicative of the fact that it is important. Like, a lot of people will say, why does it matter? Well, if it doesn't matter to you, then that's okay. But it does matter to the fans who see that and they're like, finally we have some representation. Finally, we have a face that's in the sport that we love, we've been waiting for it for so long. So yeah, it's really cool to be a part of that. The Black Lives Matters movement is just it's really important, and I think it's really important. I think people try to pretend that it's not, or try to call it things that it isn't, because it's hard to look at the violence. It's hard to say there's something wrong when you haven't experienced it yourself. And I think the reason it's so important to Black people is because they've all had moments where they felt in danger, or they felt like they weren't being considered as human as their white counterparts. And it's not something that disappeared when Obama got elected. It's not something that disappeared once cops got got body cams. It's something that's still hurting the community right now. And I think just with the pandemic going on, and with just everything just being so divisive right now, it's really brought it to light and really made people pay attention to how hard the struggles are, and the fact that there does need to be some change. So it's kind of a touchy subject for me, because I don't know. It's like, I wish I could do more. I wish I could do all the research and figure out ways to make America a better place, and what actions to take to help get justice for the people who have been killed unjustly, and just it's really hard to think of all that. And the easy thing for me to do is to fight. Like if this is if this is something that I could do, if just carrying that burden into the cage is something that I can do, I'm happy to do it, because a lot of times I think a lot of us feel helpless, you know, and it's yeah, it's just such a tough subject, and it gets under people's skin. But the reason it's so touchy is because it's such an important thing. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent, uh, but yeah, I'm happy just me doing what I would be doing no matter what. I'm happy that that can somehow make a change, or somehow encourage people to keep fighting for what they believe in.
Absolutely. You talked earlier about, also inspiring people, and we talked about representation, and you posted a tribute on your Instagram page to when he passed away. And obviously, I know you're a big pop culture person like myself. We've talked about this in the past. How significant Chadwick was to the pop culture movement in terms of being a black man, being Black Panther, and giving kids, to where the Captain America, whatever it is, being that representation. I know it's a lot of weight to put on your shoulders, going into a fight, but but are you proud to have that, be that inspiration for, be that representation? Because you mentioned, it's kind of weird that we're at this point, we haven't had a black woman headline a UFC card, and you can be that for people. You that inspiration.
Yeah, I think when he died, I think, like everyone else, I started watching a lot of interviews that he had, um, talking about the significance of when Black Panther came out. And the one that really choked me up was the one when he was he was surprised at how important the film was to these two kids who were terminally ill. He was so surprised that it was that important to them, and that's kind of like, I would never compare myself to like him, but when people do reach out and say, hey, my daughter looks up to you, my girlfriend loves you, my like I hope my daughters can be as strong as you are. Like, when people reach out and say things like that, it's always surprising, but it just makes me feel so happy that I didn't give up. You know, like it gives me that extra push when I just want to be like, fuck it, you know, like, fuck it, this isn't worth it. It's too hard. Because fighting is hard. It's really hard. And it's even harder when your entire, like, every time I've lost, it's been on the UFC stage. I've never lost outside of the UFC. So having that magnifying glass on every win, but also every failure, it, like, people reaching out to me and saying stuff like that, like, it's so special, and it's something that you can't is just something that you can't really explain. But you know, representation is such an important thing to so many people. And I remember, like, when I was a kid, and I would always want the Black Barbie, because I'm like, yeah, that's me. Or I would always, you know, watch Rugrats and get extra excited when Susie was on, you know. So it's just like one of those little things where people who aren't starved of it don't realize that they would miss it if they didn't have it, you know. If you are, if you're white in America, you've never felt underrepresented, you know. But it's a thing that's important, especially when especially in times like this, where you feel like your people are being treated less than human. So yeah, it's so sad, the death of Chadwick Boseman. And I think it was really, I think it was really crazy how strong he was. The fact that he kept all that to himself. The fact that he was fighting cancer for so long, and yeah, it's just another sad loss. It's horrible, but definitely his story given a lot of people strength, including me, just seeing that you never know who you're inspiring, and just by going about your day, just by trying to be the best you that you can be, you never know who's looking at that and taking inspiration from that. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that.
And last thing for we're in a weird time with with where we're doing the weigh-in. We're not going to get the crowd, things like that. You are a person who always has the best weigh-ins, the best walkouts, things like that. I know a little bit of the creativity stamped down with the uniform and things, but anything planned for this main event? Any hints you can give us of what you got in the works for tomorrow or Saturday?
Nah, I gave that up a while ago. You know who's really great? Susie, our makeup artist with the UFC. She's fighting cancer right now too, and she would always hook me up with the war paint, with the Black Panther war paint and stuff for weigh-ins, because we can't really do that much with the Reebok uniform. Like we can maybe wear a wig or paint our face, but that's about it. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it to the pros. I'll get back to that stuff when Susie's back and working with us. I know she'll pull through, but yeah, nothing planned. Just gonna stare this girl down and imagine what it's gonna look like when I'm punching in the face.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela. That is all the time we had for you.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Doesn't look bad at all. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good.
All right. Are these, y'all are asking the questions?
No, you're going to hear the media before you ask the questions. It'll come through virtually.
We now welcome the number 9 ranked UFC women's flyweight in the world, Andrea Lee.
Hello.
Hi, Andrea. We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press.
Good morning, Andrea. How you doing?
Hey, Gabriel. I'm doing good.
So, see you rocking the cowboy hat. Important question. I saw you showing off on social media. Did you get some new ones for Fight Week?
I did. Of course, I can't wear them for Fight Week. They have a little logo, like a little horseshoe. So, unfortunately, I can't wear those for cameras purposes. But I did get some new hats, and I'm excited about it. I love them.
Congratulations. Recently, your boyfriend Tony Kelly was signed to the UFC. How motivating was it to see him make his debut, and now you guys got that whole MMA power couple thing going on?
Well, I was really excited about it. Like, I mean, he went out there and he impressed me and everyone else. I've always known what he's capable of. I've known him for 10 plus years, and just seeing him go out there and do his thing and have his dream like come true, like it's very inspiring. And to see him come back the way that he did and the way he mixed up everything, like his striking, his elbows, like it is inspiring, and it makes me want to go out there and split someone open. It's funny. I'm excited about it. I think it's pretty awesome, that we're both in the UFC.
Gotcha. I saw you were training a bit with Aspen Ladd. I mean, not obviously with her because she's injured, but the team in California. You're from Louisiana. Can you just talk about that added benefit of working with that team in California?
Well, everyone knows I do go back and forth between Gladiators and MMA Gold. Gladiators in Lafayette and then MMA Gold in California. So I did split my camp up that way. And going out to train with MMA Gold, Aspen and Jim West, like it's great because I'm able to like get away. I'm able to disconnect. It's beautiful up there, and I actually got to stay with Aspen in her new cabin in the mountains. So it sounds like it was, well, I mean, it's definitely a dream home, and it's just nice to be able to get out there, reconnect with nature, and just kind of like relax and focus on my camp. And I think that's what I really needed the most for this fight, and I think that's what I need for every camp. Like we didn't even have that much signal up there in the mountains, so I couldn't really be on social media as much. you know. It was good. I loved it, you know, and the training quality is amazing. You know, they schedule everything, you know, to work around me and what it is that I need to do and how I'm game planning. Like all the coaches are on the same like playing field, and you know, we all work together, and you know, I feel like I've had a really great camp. I feel good.
Yeah, I saw on IG you guys got a lot of hiking in while you guys were up there. I do have a question because I think a lot of people thought you'd be very entertained by Roxanne's trash talk, quote unquote. Can you just talk about what it's like to fight somebody that you are friendly with, as opposed to, you know, maybe other opponents, you know, you don't know them as well, you could be a little more indifferent and focus more on the competition?
Well, the trash talking was hilarious. Yes. I enjoyed watching that. You know, even the first time that Roxy and I fought, she made light of the situation. You know, she kind of uh she said, let's get dangerous, you know, and like had the whole Darkwing Duck thing. And anyways, it was funny, it was cute. You know, that's just Roxy, that's just how she is. I think it doesn't like take away from, you know, what we are going to do. You know, we're going to go in there and we're going to fight and we're going to put on an incredible performance for everyone. You know, business is business. You know, we were able to like, you know, put our relationships, our friendships aside, you know, and do what we got to do. um, it is, I guess it is, I don't know, I guess it maybe it makes fight week a little bit easier, you know, because you don't have all the butterflies, maybe. I just feel really good about this fight, you know, I'm excited to be here. And you know, I like not having, like, I'm not a trash talker, so I like this, you know, neither one of us, you know, feel any ill will towards the other. We don't have any animosity towards each other, you know. I like this.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a long response.
No, it was great. My final question, with the shakeup, with the main event and everything, your fight has a lot more attention going into Saturday. How do you feel about that? I mean, I think for a lot of people, if you get the win, this really does bounce you forward even more because of all the attention that you would get as opposed to before.
Well, that's what I want, you know. I want to be bounced forward, you know. I need that. So I don't really know where it's gonna put me in the ranks, but like I'm, you know, excited about going out there and getting this win. You know, I need to get the ball rolling. I need to get back on climbing the ladder, and you know, I'm on a 2 fight skid streak, so I'm here to get this win, and you know, I want to do it in a and I want to impress everyone, you know, and doing it in style, you know, go out there, get a finish, or just be super aggressive and just, you know, when I don't necessarily want fight of the night, but I would love to get a fight bonus. If fight of the night is what I get, fight of the night normally means you go the distance. You know, I'm fine with that. You know, it's going to be an exciting fight, but I would love to get like a performance bonus, like some sort of a finish.
Sure. Well, thank you, Andrea. Best of luck.
Thank you, Gabe.
And we will take our next set of questions from Gavin Porter with UFC.com.
What did you just mean? But you can still look at the camera right.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. So it's got to be frustrating, right? To come out on straight split decisions. When you look back at those two fights, and do you just get frustrated, or how do you grow from that mentally and kind of learn more about yourself over this last year? It's been tough.
Well, looking back on those fights, I do get frustrated about it because I just think about where I messed up. But that's the learning process of everything. You know, that's what's going to make you better going into your next fight, your next competition. So I look back, I know where I messed up, and I think that's what's going to help me in the long run. You know, I was. I don't think I was on like a 5 fight win streak. You know, it'd been a few years since I'd lost, and you know, maybe losing these 2 fights, you know, will, you know, help propel me in a way. You know, I think it's gonna, because I don't wanna get cut from the UFC. You know, so I mean, it's definitely making me fight even harder, you know, to earn my spot in the top rankings.
And when you lose two really close fights like that, does that add more fuel to the fire? Do you feel like there's a little bit more urgency when you're going through camp, when you're going through your preparation for this upcoming bout?
Most definitely. You know, it makes me every day, it makes me push a little bit harder. And you know, my conditioning, I mean, I've pushed it. I feel like I'm still pushing it. I still feel like I haven't done enough. I know I have, and I feel great, but it's like I still feel like every day is another day to continue to push and to get a little bit better. And I'm trying to like, I'm like, today's still a learning day. Today's still a day that I can get better, even though weigh-ins is tomorrow and the fight's on Saturday. Like I'm still pushing myself.
As you've been pushing yourself, is there a point during this preparation, this camp, where you felt, oh, it's starting to click? I'm starting to really feel it. I'm starting to get going in the direction I really need to be.
Yes, actually, like 2.5 weeks ago, I started feeling great about everything. Just kind of getting back into I mean, I've been training even through all this quarantine and stuff. I've been doing things, but like once fight camp started off, you're getting back into the swing of things and that grind. Um, it's easy to get in your head, about some things. Like maybe my explosiveness isn't there, and like my kicks aren't firing off, my punches aren't sharp enough, and that's like it's irritating, it's frustrating. But I feel like in the last couple of weeks, everything has pretty much like just, panned out. Everything's going smooth. I feel great.
Great, thank you.
And we will take our next set of questions from Danny Segura with MMA Junkie.
Yeah, sorry if I might repeat a couple questions. I missed the beginning set of questions. This is the first time that you're getting the chance to sort of avenge a loss here, because obviously you fought against Roxanne before. Is that nice, or do you kind of treat it just as another fight?
It's nice, but I'm still treating it like another fight. I don't really feel like I'm going out there to avenge anything, because that was so long ago. But it's exciting to be able to like rematch with Roxy and go out there and show how much better I've gotten since then. Because when I fought Roxy, that was my third pro fight, and she had already had like 20 something pro fights, I think. So I mean, I was a young up and comer, and we took that fight on short notice. We thought it was a great fight, and it was. I lost a split decision. It was close, and I learned a lot in that fight, and I learned a lot about where I was at that point in my career. And I feel like I've gotten so much better because I learned so much from that loss alone, and every loss since then. But I'm excited about going out there, and proving to everybody, that I feel maybe I should, I could have won that fight, that fight that night, just it wasn't my night.
Yeah, and that was your third professional fight. So obviously, a lot has happened since you've gained a lot of experience. How much different are you? Where would you say you're the most different compared to Andrea Lee, 2-0 heading into that bout?
Well, I've definitely worked a lot on my wrestling, and my jujitsu has gotten so much better since then, because we took like, some time to just focus on just straight jujitsu. I mean, I hit up like all the tournament, like, like I ran on like I went on like a jujitsu streak where all we did was just like compete at tournaments, just to kind of like push myself and make myself get better. And we focused on a lot there for a couple of years, and I'm still focusing on that. I'm still continuing to get better, as all fighters are. But I think that that's probably where you'll see that I've gotten a lot better at, my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu, my takedown defense.
Yeah. And last question. Entering that bout, obviously you were very young in your MMA career, and Roxanne had a bunch of fights, as you mentioned. She already had like over 20 fights. Are you kind of surprised that you're meeting her again in 2020? Because that was 6 years ago, and she's still kicking ass and still among the best in the division.
And I'm really not, Roxanne, like she does surprise me, but she's inspiring. I mean, the fact that she's in, like in the UFC, still been in the top 10. Like she came back. She got cut from the UFC, went back to Invicta, went on a win streak, and then got called back into the UFC, and she's been in the UFC ever since. I mean, like that's super impressive and inspiring to me. It doesn't surprise me that her and I are matching back up. I knew it was going to happen eventually. I've had people that have always asked me at the end of every fight, "You need to call out Roxanne." I'm like, "No, not gonna, because I don't like to call out people, but I've had people been wanting this match to happen, and I was like, it's gonna happen on its own time, so just let it happen, and it worked out perfectly. I mean, we both lost to Lauren. She was our last opponent, and I had a feeling that they were going to match me and Roxy up, and then whenever I got the call and the name was Roxy, I was like, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. I was like, but I'm ready. I think it's time. We're both in the top 10. I think it's time that we rematch. And it's in the UFC, and we're getting paid a lot more. Couldn't get better than that.
Thank you, Andrea. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Andrea. That is all the time we had for you.
Awesome.
Great work.
Is this good for the mic?
Yeah.
We now welcome UFC featherweight Billy Quarantillo. Billy, thank you for the time today, sir.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
We will take the first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hello, Billy. You've gone from the local circuit to now having 2 UFC victories under your belt. Can you just describe what it's been like to be able to jump up to the big show and have the success you've had so far?
Yeah, it's been it's been a long time coming. I just saw it was the 5-year anniversary of the Ultimate Fighter that I was on. Team Faber versus McGregor. So it's definitely been a lot of hard work I put in, and it finally feels like it's paying off. And it's just a great feeling, man. This is a dream come true to be here, and to be 2-0 and looking to go 3-0. It's literally a dream come true.
What do you take most from those fights before you made it to the UFC that you helped get you ready? Was it moments? Was it just the overall fight experience? What helped you?
Yeah, just a lot of it. Just I think a little bit of everything. I knew from the Ultimate Fighter, I lost by I was getting out muscled, I was getting out grappled, out wrestled. That was a big part of things I needed to work on. It was also at 155 pounds, was at lightweight. I kind of realized I was, a pretty small lightweight, and that I was able to make 145. So changing the weight class, fighting at 145, which is closer to my my frame, and just getting the experience. Being around all those guys, being around Faber and McGregor, and knowing that I was capable of competing with these guys in the UFC.
This is your second fight of the pandemic era. Does it feel familiar to get back there to Vegas and the hotel? Does it feel like deja vu?
Yeah, it really does, man. It feels like it's like I'm doing the exact same thing over again. We just have a different opponent. I like the matchup once again, and everything else has been pretty smooth. I got some weight to cut today, and then it's time to have some fun.
Did you bring anything different with you to help pass the time at the hotel now that you've had the experience?
Well, yeah, I got to cut a few more pounds because last time we met at 150, so I got 4 more pounds to cut. So I'm just, I got a little bit leaner for this fight. I actually put on a little bit of muscle, but got a little bit leaner for this fight, and I'm making sure I have a good smooth cut.
Gotcha. Final question: what's your assessment of Kyle Nelson as an opponent?
Yeah, he's a very tough opponent. He's I looked up his fights, and he's a strong striker. He's he likes to move forward just like me. So I think we're gonna start this. I think the reason why we're on the main card is because I think there's gonna be some fireworks in this fight. I think it's gonna be exciting right from the opening bell, and it's gonna be a good way to start off the main card.
Hey, thank you, Billy. Good luck.
No problem, man. Thank you.
We will take our next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Billy, you obviously had a crazy couple of months with your fight and then turning around and then what happened with Matt Frivola. Can you kind of give me an idea of what these past couple of months have been like for you in terms of your fighting, but also kind of like the emotions, everything you've gone through?
Yeah, I kind of try to keep my emotions in check because as crazy as it's been for me, it seems like it's been pretty crazy for everyone else too. This is obviously not normal being in a room with a bunch of guys with masks on right now. But I just the fight was great. It was a risky fight to take at 150, and then to come back, it was unfortunate that I tested positive. I felt really bad about it, but obviously it was out of my control. And the UFC said, whenever you're ready, let's fight again. And I took the first opportunity they gave me. They offered me Kyle, And I really, this is what I do for a living. I love it, and I'm trying to be a big star in this sport. So I want to just keep fighting and keep getting wins.
You when you got diagnosed with COVID-19, I had seen you were asymptomatic. You never really got with that. Did you ever deal with any symptoms?
No real symptoms. I had like a stuffy nose, and then for like a couple days I couldn't I couldn't really taste everything as normal. But just having the stuffy nose, it didn't even alarm me because I've had allergies. I've had a broken nose before, so I wouldn't even have known that I had anything. Besides that, they told me that I was positive. So when I came back, I had to quarantine for a few weeks, but I couldn't even tell. I was still able to work out. I was still able to run, and I felt completely fine. But I'm just, I'm glad now that I've had a few negative tests now in a row, and hopefully this is the last time I have to deal with that.
Obviously, your last fight was against I guess is the best way to describe it. Back, going into the Kyle's his own fighter and everything, but more of a you don't have to necessarily worry about those weird kind of bizarre things that Spike does with his style. Is it easier or more fun to prepare for an opponent like that, or does it really matter?
Yeah, every fight's different. Spike is definitely the most interesting character I fought. I think he's got a couple of screws loose in his head. I didn't mind getting ready for the Spike fight. He was saying a lot of stuff in these interviews, how he was gonna like murder me, and this was like gonna be an easy fight for him, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. But at the end of the day, no matter what my opponent says, I know we're gonna get to go out there and fight. So it's he's gonna have to back that up, whatever he said. And I'm really happy to get that last win. But overall, I'm just no matter who they give me and my team do a really good job breaking these guys down. So I always feel really confident going into these fights.
And last question, you coming out the Contender Series, you're on a pretty good right now. Is right now more about staying busy and whoever they put in front of you? At what point do you start thinking about, hey, I need top 15 opponents? Not to say I want to rescue along or anything, but like, where's your mind at in terms of, is it more about activity right now, or will there be a breaking point where you say, okay, I need to get that top 15 opponents?
Yeah, it's definitely getting close. My first debut fight, Jacob took it on short notice, so that was a good win for me because he is a stud. But then the Spike fight, I still need to get through a few of these other guys who are in the same boat as me, climbing up those rankings. But yeah, I definitely feel like when I get past Kyle, that we will step up in competition a little bit, and by next year, definitely looking for ranked opponents because that, obviously it's the ultimate goal is to be a world champion, to be on these pay-per-view cards, to get more of a spotlight. So I definitely think I'm heading in that direction, but I got to just keep winning and just keep making a statement. And that's why I need to go for a finish, Saturday night. Thanks, man.
Thanks so much, Billy. That is all the time we had for you, sir.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Like a couple of people were saying I should kind of cut my hair back here and just be Danny Glover from every 90s movies. I was like, nah. Well, I'm gonna just go with the regular.
We now welcome UFC lightweight Kama Worthy. Kama, thank you for the time today, sir.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
We will take the first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hey, Kama, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for asking.
Great.
You had quite the performance last time. Have you seen a rise in popularity since your last fight?
Yeah, to a certain degree. People on social media and stuff like that. So my Instagram fan went up a little bit more. I think I broke 10,000.
Congratulations. That's always nice. How was preparing for this fight? You guys were scheduled before, then you fought someone else. So what was it like to circle all the way back to Ottman again?
I actually asked for this fight. Right after my last fight, my manager asked me who I wanted. I said I wanted this fight simply because we prepared for so long for the April card because I found out about I was going to fight him in April and January. So I prepared for it. I just wanted to just finish it. You know, I hate like doing stuff and not really getting a result, whether I did good or I did bad. I want to see how it happened. So I really wanted to like put the finishing touches on this one.
The last time we spoke with you, you said that you were looking to have those Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald type of fights. Does Ottman, you know, is he the kind of dance partner you need to make one of those fights happen, in your opinion?
On paper, he seems like he is. He's has a 90% finish rate. He has 9 knockouts, 2 submissions. I have 9 knockouts, 3 submissions. I mean, so it seems like we match up pretty well. So I think he's gonna come there. From what I see, he comes to fight, and I think that's a fun fight for fans and stuff. Win or lose, you know, I'm definitely looking to win, but win or lose, I think it'll just keep pushing me to the top.
For yourself, what would you most like to show in this fight?
Same shit I always show, man. A-class violence. Can I curse? No. Yeah? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm with it. Hey, good luck, Kama. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take the next questions from Gavin Porter with UFC.com.
All right, man. So it's your second fight during this pandemic era, if you will. And what did you kind of take away from the first experience of fighting in the Apex and everything versus your debut, which was obviously a much different circumstance?
Yeah, I guess it's weird with the whole no fan thing is kind of weird. Like being able to hear everything, including the punches and the breathe. Being able to hear your opponent's breathing is weird because you normally only get that when you're training with your partners or like you're training at a gym because there's so much noise going on in fights you can't really hear. But that was the biggest thing for me is hearing their heartbeats, hearing their breathing, hearing when they're picking their breathing up and stuff like that. But I don't really try to really figure out the pattern for the fights too much because everything's different. So I'm expecting a whole different experience this time around. So it's always gonna be a little bit different for every fight.
And after your last fight, you said, you know, hey, I'm the real deal. Like, I think I'm proving that every time I get in there. And now you're fighting a guy who's undefeated, who's coming off of an awesome knockout himself. So what kind of statement would it make for you to be able to finish a guy with a 0 next to his name that has this type of hype?
I mean, I think it'll just keep building on the type of fighter I am and the type of opponents that I like to fight and the excitement that rises with me and stuff. So, I mean, like, I want to be in good fights, plain and simple. I want fun fights. I mean, I'm okay taking the risk of losing for the rewards I'll get from getting good fights.
Do you ever look back at that debut and that good fight you had with your good friend, obviously, but it's been a full year and your life is completely different in a way, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's weird because really, like, it's not just my life. The entire world it's completely different. Like everything, how we approach fights and everything, it's all completely different. So like, the year anniversary just happened. It seems like it was forever ago because so much stuff has happened. Like my daughter, as like she was 1 at the time, so she's like kind of grown up and like she's become a little personality. So she's almost 2 now, so she's grabbing stuff and doing her own thing. Like my gym, I mean, like. We've gone through my gym being closed down to being reopened and that. Like my friends have gotten fights. So much stuff has changed up, and it's like coming full circle again. And it's a long year for the world.
But when you look back on it, you know, was there a specific moment where you're like, "Wow, this is real"? Like,
yeah, I mean, like that entire weekend was cerebral. That just. In itself, just because the way that things happen and stuff. I mean, I still think about when I got the call from my manager house and how I thought about saying no because I did not feel like cutting 19 pounds in 4 days. That was not something I wanted to do. But I mean, like just that whole experience, just everything, how it happened, how it came to play, and just how everything kind of like just like swung its way and happened that way. It's different.
Things continue to happen for you. In fact, you're the co-main event in this weekend's fight card. So the come-up has been real in a year.
Yeah.
So when you realize you're about to be the co-main event of a UFC card, and a year ago, plus some change, you weren't even in the UFC. So when you think of that, what does that initially bring in reaction?
It's crazy. I mean, like again, like I've always been the type of person that thinks that like trying to have too many patterns for things can be a problem. My older brother, Akeem, he taught me that. Like, sometimes you have to sit back and let things, like, kind of go into play. And, like, my UFC career has never been more unpredictable as you can see. I mean, like, it goes from a fight on 4-day notice to having a fight and then switch up opponents, and that fight getting canceled, then taking the fight, but we pin you on 3.5 weeks, and now this fight, I get the fight that I had before, and it's like, oh, it's a regular fight. No, it's a co-main event. It's like, oh shit, this is stuff just keeps adding on. So for me, it's just understanding that no matter what happens, whether I was the first fight on the prelims or if I was going to be the main event, I just need 18 minutes of pure focus, and it's the same thought process.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you. We look forward to seeing you Saturday.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much, Common. That is all the time we had for you, sir.
Awesome. Thanks.
We now welcome UFC featherweight Kyle Nelson. Kyle, thank you for the time, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me.
We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hey, Kyle. It took 3 tries, but you finally got that first UFC victory. How much of a relief is it going into this one now that you finally have that first UFC W under your belt?
It feels pretty good. I think it was just about getting my mindset and stuff right. In the first 2, obviously the first fight was super short notice, so I didn't really have much time to prepare. And then the second fight, I felt like I prepared really well physically, but mentally I just wasn't in the right space. And for my 3rd UFC fight, I think I had everything dialed in, and obviously performed really well for that one. And I've had a year since then basically to keep improving, not only physically but mentally. And I feel like I'm only going to be even better now.
I mean, you talk about that. Obviously, there were circumstances, the short notice in the first one and everything else. But, 2 losses, it could be very discouraging for a fighter. I mean, what did you take from those first 2 fights to help yourself improve? And now you're at this point where you did get the victory.
Definitely a lot from the Matt Sales fight. I think I was just a little too over aggressive, trying to maybe be a little too entertaining and searching for the knockout a little too hard. And then in the Polo fight, I just kind of let it come to me. I just went out and fought, how I trained and how I fought before I got into the UFC, and everything came together well. In the Diego Ferreira fight, it was more or less, we got the call on 3 or 4 days, so it was basically just make weight, go in and fight. And but it was my first time fighting in front of a big audience there in Toronto, Canada. I think there was like 20,000 people. So, I got to experience some of that, and the whole routine, that you go through when you're fighting for the UFC. So that's kind of what I learned from that.
How's the training situation changed for yourself since your last fight? Has the pandemic made it easier or harder where you're at personally?
Overall, it's probably made it easier. When the pandemic first hit, everything kind of got locked down. So it was more so I just focused on my physical fitness and stuff. But, COVID and the pandemic's not too bad where I'm from in Canada. So as things started to open up, I was able to get back to training, I think, earlier than a lot of other places, and continue to improve on everything. And when, the pandemic was going on, there wasn't much else happening. I didn't have my normal errands to run around and do and normal everyday stuff. So I was able to focus even more on training.
Final question. What is your assessment of Billy Quarantillo as an opponent?
I think he's a good opponent. Well-rounded. Definitely, I think he's his best on the ground. But I think he's a little more of a survivor, not really a killer. I don't think he poses a lot of danger to me. I think, his best bet is to try and take me down and try and ride out a boring decision win. But I'm not going to let him do that.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we will take our next questions from Gavin Porter with UFC.com.
What's up, man? So you can still just look at it. Yeah. So you're fighting Billy, who's on a pretty good streak, and if you were to get the win over him, do you think that you could be able to capture some of that momentum that he's been building up, and the success that he's had in UFC would be a good victory for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I'm looking to do. Kind of steal the hype. He's got some hype behind him, and I can go in there and extinguish that hype and kind of take it for myself. Even when I took that the short notice fight against Sean Woodson that unfortunately fell through, it was kind of the same game plan. He was undefeated and coming in on a big tear, and I was ready to steal that hype. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so now we're just going to go ahead and steal all of Billy's hype.
You get that opportunity on the main card this time, and when you're opening the main card like this, do you view this as an opportunity for you to kind of get more eyes on you than maybe you had in the past?
I'm just gonna go about it every other fight, whether it's on the main card, the prelims, or the main event. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. So there's no point in me focusing too much on how many viewers there's gonna be and how many people are watching. I'm just gonna go in and knock them out the same.
When you've been away from the octagon for this whole plus year, what have you missed most about competing, and what are you most excited for to get in there and do on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I miss a lot about competing. That's why I train. That's what keeps me motivated. That's why I'm up every day early to run. So, without that, you would almost, the fire actually, grew bigger, waiting for another fight. And yeah, there was a bit of frustration, but, I just kept training harder and harder and harder. And I knew when the time did come, I would just be even better. So the improvements I've made in this last year have been amazing, and nobody's going to be able to kind of see that coming. So I'm very excited to get back in there.
When you have kind of that frustration and that fire built up, does that kind of mean we're going to see an explosive version of this Kyle coming out on that first round?
You're always going to see an explosive version of Kyle. I come with the power, the speed, the strength, and if anything lands on Billy, that'll be it. So I got power in my hands, both my feet, my knees, my elbows. Everything's coming with a lot of heat on it. So Billy's got a lot to be scared about.
What does a statement victory look like for you? What do you envision your statement being on Saturday?
I would love a one-punch knockout and then just walk away. Finish them nice and early, get in and out, not get hurt, and be ready to jump on another opportunity if something comes up real soon.
Perfect, man. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyle. That is all the time we had for you, sir.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
One of the strongest Twitter games in MMA right here.
Thank you.
Have fun with the fans. Some people don't do that.
Yeah. I like interacting with people. I love people. So, it's always fun to interact. And usually I get a lot of positive feedback and love and support. So
yeah,
why not return it?
And not afraid to laugh at yourself too, like posting like me.
Oh,
yeah.
That's all right.
It's awesome.
We now welcome UFC light heavyweight Mike Rodriguez. Mike, thank you for the time, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cape Side Press.
Sick question. Next question. Let me stop.
Sorry, 1 second, Mike.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Nobody stays in these rooms, right?
No, this room is just empty for BD Day.
It would suck if someone's like, dude, I'm trying to get a fucking nap in. Like, could you guys hurry it up?
Yeah, I don't know. We've had this room for 2 months.
Yeah. I kind of like the bubble, honestly. I kind of like it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's worked out well.
Yeah.
Good.
It's unmuted.
I didn't know if you guys were.
No,
if they were ready.
They can't.
Okay, so they're struggling to something. I'll go first. So you can look here and I'll talk.
All right,
man. So first of all, you're back again. It's just been a few weeks. What was the biggest factor in you deciding to come back so quickly?
The opportunity was there. What they say when the opportunity knocks, open the door. So open the door, the opportunity to come in, have a seat. So that's why I'm here.
And your opportunity is against a veteran of the sport, a guy that you've watched plenty of times, I'm sure. And so when you're fighting a guy that you do know so well and you've seen kind of over the years, does that add a little bit more, fuel to the fire? Is it a little more fun to fight a guy that you recognize and you know about?
Mixture of all of it. Excuse me. It's cool to fight against somebody with so much experience because, it helps me test my skills. I've been fighting for 10 years, something like that. Jeez. So time flies. So yeah. So just the fact that I develop my skills over time and I get to test it against somebody who will, who's been through it all. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's great.
you had the first experience of, you know, coming to the Apex and fighting with no crowd and stuff just 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now you're going to do it again. What do you think of fighting with no crowd and kind of in this pandemic era of MMA, if you will?
I didn't mind it because I'm a contender series guy, so we didn't have a crowd anyways. So it was the same. Just go out there and just fight. I can't really focus on the crowd anyways when somebody's 205 trying to punch me in the face. So yeah.
You talked a little bit about, you know, in 2019, you had a lot of distractions going on, and you know, with working as a bartender and all these things, and being able to, you know, just get enough sleep to train properly was difficult last year. Now this year, you said you got a refresh focus.
Mm-hmm.
You come in, it's a kind of a springboard for you this year. What has been the biggest change in the pandemic that has allowed you to kind of focus on you and get to where you want to be?
I would say the biggest change, I would say just being able to solely focus on fighting, nothing else. I don't have to worry about like, oh, what's my schedule for next weekend? What do I need for the bar? What cups I need? Like, I don't have to focus on any of that other external stresses, you know? I could just train. And I think this is like the best moment for everybody. Because all we can do is what we love to do, which is train and fight. That's it. You can't do nothing else. You can't go to clubs. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't really go out to the restaurants, none of that. So just train and fight. So why not abuse that as much as possible?
And I wanted to ask, how satisfying was that win that you got just 3 weeks ago, coming off of the difficult end that you had in 2019, and then to get that big victory pretty quickly as well and come out healthy? How satisfying was it for you?
Oh man, it was really satisfying. It's rejuvenating, you know, because last year I went 0-2, you know, so it sucked. Well, you don't get 1-1 because one was a no contest, but even still, even that no contest, I lost, you know, and so being able to spring back for a win, to get back in that winning column was just amazing. You know, it's something what I needed, what my fan base needed, my friends, my family, like everybody who supports me. You know, it was something that we needed, and it gave us hope that we're still in this fight and we can still do it.
And when you get a win like that, and you ride an emotional high into this next one, considering it's just right around the corner. You know, sometimes you get a win and you wait 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever. You're waiting 3 weeks before you jump back in there. Are you still kind of riding that emotional high and that momentum into this fight?
No. To me, I'm like a reset person. So it's the past. You know, you accept the past. It's over and done with. So I won 3 weeks ago. It happened. It's done. Had my fun the week after. You know what I mean? I went camping with my family. It was great. And then I had to get back to work. So it's just back to work. It's like going from ground zero all over again. So we went up, then we went right back down to build back up. That's it.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. I think someone else is going to ask a question.
It's just...
Yeah, Mike, we're going to try this again. We're going to take Gabriel Gonzalez from Cage Side Press.
All right, cool.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me this time? I'm sorry, man.
It's all right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so if I missed it, I apologize. Technical issues. Just really want to ask how this fight came together seemingly so quickly.
So, after I beat Pretch, you know, I was injury free. Didn't have nothing wrong with me. It was golden. And I was at the airport, and Joe Lozon and Steve Mays, my two coaches, they both texted me. I was like, stay ready, because the way everything's going right now, you don't know what can happen. Opportunity will come. So I said, all right, cool. So they're like, you know, take your time, enjoy your time off. And then, you know, my wife and the kids, we enjoyed our camping trip, because we planned a camping trip the following week. And then right after that, I was done with the camping trip. I went right back to the gym. Did a little bit of work with some teammates. And then as soon as I was done training, got a phone call from Tyson, my manager, and he was like, hey, remember when I told you to stay ready? I'm like, yeah. He's like, we got something. You're fighting Ed Herman. And he's like, you know, Tyson, you want to take the fight? I'm like, yeah, take that fight. Let's run it. And he was like, all right, yeah, cool. So that's how we ended up getting it. But I'm glad for Ed, because like he went through like 5 or 6 opponent changes, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's good. It's all good.
I mean, we'll certainly be asking him. Can I ask, you just fought recently You're right back at the Apex. I'm assuming they have you at the same hotel in Vegas. I mean, does it feel like deja vu? I mean, when you're in the UFC, it's very rare that you're going straight back to the same exact place immediately.
I know, right? It just feels comfortable because I was already here. You know, I'm a person that get comfortable quick. I was already here, so I already know how everything that happened and how everything works and everything. So I just adapted and just soak it all up.
Do you do things like ask for the same hotel room or anything like that?
No. Nah, I just took whatever they gave me.
Gotcha. You talk about Ed Herman. Obviously, this guy's got a lot more UFC fights than a lot of people. I mean, just talk about him and your assessment of him as an opponent.
Ed Herman's he's good. He's tough. He's so tanky. I didn't realize how tanky he was until I went back and watched the fights. He's very tanky. So that's something that you got to take into consideration. Because I can't think of, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go blow him out of the water in the first round. Guys like that doesn't happen. So I got to be smart, more persistent. Discipline, persistence is I think what is not what I think is what beats him. Is that so? As long as I'm stay disciplined and stay persistent, I will get the win for sure. But yeah, he's good, and he's really good at bringing people into brawls. And he's a brawler himself, so he's really good at that. So it's gonna be awesome.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Good luck.
No problem. Thank you.
And we will take our next set of questions from Danny Segura with MMA Junkie.
Hey, Mike, just quickly, you said he was tanky. What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry, durable. He's very durable.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Yeah, no, I
it's
figured it'd be something along those lines. And obviously this is somewhat of a short notice fight for you. In these type of fights, like, is there much time to strategize, or do you kind of just go in there and fight?
Well, we didn't really have much time to game plan with him. So we just kind of just went in there and fight. The only thing we really touched up on is a lot of his clinch work. He has good clinch work. He's really good on the clinch. Granted, I know y'all well, you just wanted to clinch, but yeah, his clinch is good too. So that's something to take into consider. He just has a different style of clinching. Muay Thai is my dominant background, so I have more Muay Thai clinching. He is wrestling, so he has more of that Greco Team Quest type of clinch. But it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a clash of styles. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, and as a guy that's I know you've been in the UFC now for a couple of years, but as a guy that's been fairly new, let's just say, is it nice to get these type of opponents, and are these the kind of names that you're looking for, like these veterans that have been around for quite some time and are quite well known by fans?
Yeah, it's awesome. I like this fight a lot. I really do. Matter of fact, I love this fight a lot. It's cool to fight someone from a whole nother generation. I'm like more the newer breed, more the newer generation, and he's more the older generation. What inspired me to get here, he's one of the guys, So it's cool to test your skills against the guys you was watching. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. And what about the weight cut? Obviously, another weight cut within a sort of short amount of time span. How do you feel weight cut wise? And is that ever an issue, like taking fights like, oh wait, let me check up on my weight first?
No, so when I said I didn't balloon up, so that was good. They got me at a good time. I was walking around. I would say 223-ish, 225. So that's good. I was like, yeah. So that was more an incentive to take the fight because my weight was already low. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you're a Twitch streamer. What are you playing these days?
Recently I haven't been able to set up consistent stream schedule due to all the training I've been doing, but when I get back, I'll start focusing on that. And the game is always Siege. I play a lot of Siege. That's like my lifestyle game. But right now, what I've been playing in the room on Fight Week is Ghost of Tsushima. Man, that game is so fun. It's dope. Highly recommend it. It's really good.
Definitely gonna check that out. All right, thanks, Mike. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mike. That is all the time we had for you, sir.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a good one.
We are now joined by the number 8 ranked UFC women's flyweight Roxanne Modafferi. Roxanne, thank you for the time today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We will take the first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hey, Roxanne. People following this fight have probably watched your trash talk about Andrea. How would you describe yourself on your pre-fight build-up?
Excellent. It serves its purpose.
Well, congratulations. I was wondering, let's say you ever did dislike an opponent, like you just have somebody that you just could not bring yourself to be nice to. Do you think you might start talking trash, or what do you think you would say?
I would probably just like walk by and side-eye them like that. Probably. I really suck at trash talking or anything like that, so I just kind of do it to amuse myself, really.
I gotcha. Working at a syndicate, you and your teammate Jojo are both trying to get to a title shot. I feel like we haven't seen you guys talk about this, but do you guys have that agreement not to fight each other?
Well, we've been kind of rising in the ranks next to each other for a long time. We kind of don't plan to fight unless it's for the title. That's kind of the understanding we have, and we're just enjoying being teammates.
I mean, because you two are both kind of right there, I mean, do you guys talk about it a lot? Do you guys sit there at the gym, it's like, hey, we're going to take over the flyweight division, or is that just something that doesn't come up?
Pretty much, you reporter guys ask me that way more than we ever talk about it in the gym. every interview.
Gotcha. Talking about this fight, obviously it has a lot more attention with the shakeup to the card. I mean, do you feel like a big win here really helps propel you forward in the rankings?
Man, I'm trying not to worry too much about the rankings. I know it's an important part of our careers and contributes to who we're matched up against next. But I really just want to go out there and smash Andrea and get the win. So whatever it takes to do that, I'm going to do it.
What's the most different thing about Andrea as an opponent this time compared to the first fight?
I think she's improved a lot all around, but I have as well. You know, I think I've added a lot more things to my my arsenal. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this fight's going to play out.
Hey, thank you, Roxanne. Good luck.
Thank you.
We will take the next set of questions from Cote Cruz with the 4 to Win podcast.
Hi, Andrea. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, Roxanne. Nice talking to you. It's a pleasure. I'm coming from Chile, South America.
Oh, thank you for coming all that way.
Yeah, I didn't move actually, but it's nice to have the technology to talk, right? So, how do you feel your game is comparing to your last confrontation with Andrea? How do you feel the layers of knowledge and all the things that you've learned through this process of getting to this rematch? How do you feel you come across as a fighter now?
I'm constantly training. That's the whole focus of my life right now. I think I've developed a whole lot in my striking game, also my grappling game, wrestling, Roxy Fu, everything. You know, I'm just excited to fight.
Yeah, it was a great video. Who came across with that gem of idea of starting this trash talk Roxanne style?
I think it was the comedian Jamie Kilstein, and we made the video together with my friend Charlie Hill.
That came across awesome. It's a great way to look at you. You're so fun. Yeah, it stuck with me because I remember the stint on The Ultimate Fighter. You were always so positive, so graceful when it comes to talking to your opponent. So I was actually hoping that she's actually gonna do it. She's actually gonna talk some trash, but there you stand on totally Roxy fashion, and I loved it. How do you feel you're gonna be in this fight this time around with Andrea? Do you feel that you're gonna go the distance, or you're actually looking for the finish this time?
I always look to finish the fight. You know, it doesn't always happen, but I always try to do that. You know, I think my last fight, I wanted to go out there and show what I could do and show that I've improved improve myself and to my coaches and fans. But this time, I don't care about any of that. I just want to go out there and win any way I can. I want to either smash her on the feet or on the ground or wherever in the midair. I'm just gonna do what it takes to win.
That's awesome to hear, Roxy. Best of luck on your fight, and we'll be in touch. Stay safe.
Thank you.
We will take the next set of questions from Manabu Takashima with MMA Planet.
Roxanne,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Actually, you never say that, but when you fight against Lauren Murphy, you got injured and you didn't make a good prepare the fight. But how recovery you injured and then how you can prepare to this fight?
Yes, I feel like this camp was better. I have, recovered a lot. I'm gonna have a great performance. I feel great. I feel awesome. I'm in shape. My body feels great. I had great preparation, so I can't wait.
Okay, and also everybody know that your striking game is very improve a lot. But seems like when you didn't have a good striking, your grappling and your wrestling is it's like more powerful. And now you can make a good striking game. That's why you lost some balance as you are still one of the best grappler in your division. But how do you think about the balance of using striking and grappling right now?
I think I have improved, with my striking, and so in this fight, I'm going to go and use all of my skills to get the win. My striking and grappling, and, I'm going to control the fight and get a dominant win.
Oh, but don't you think about the too much using boxing right now?
We shall see. You have to wait and see.
All right. And please say something to Japanese fan in your Japanese.
OK。いつも日本のファン応援してくれてありがとうございました。勝って帰ります。そして勝ったら日本に行きたいです。
All right. Thank you so much. So yeah, really hope to see you here in Tokyo or Yokohama.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we will take our next questions from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Obviously, you've been a stalwart of the sport for a lot of years, and we don't see longevity in this sport is tough. It's not easy to stay, especially where you're a top-ranked fighter, for such a long time. What do you feel like has been the key to that? Is it your passion for martial arts? Is it just who you are as a person? Because typically we don't see people sitting in the rankings, for several years at a time, and you've been kind of that way your entire career.
I think that evolution is the key to me staying, in the top 10. And I'm seeing that with other veterans like Overeem, for example, or other fighters who've been fighting for a really long time. They are like evolving. They've moved camps to a new place where they can be pushed. They're trying to like grow and change. So me too, my personality and my belief to be a martial artist first has helped me embrace and pursue learning and evolution so that I'm able to keep growing and keep improving and keep staying in the top 10.
Is that passion a big part of you moved from Japan back and did the Ultimate Fighter and did things to kind of improve yourself? Like, you feel like that passion is a big part of what has driven you and what has kept you, growing and evolving in this sport? Because it is tough. We hear all the time fighters talk about getting burned out and, they kind of hit that wall a little bit.
Yes, I do have a passion for martial arts. I love it. People who start fighting to make money and be a champion, they never really get anywhere. But when you love the sport, that really enables you to do it because you love it. So I do get burned out if I train too much sometimes, but usually one day off will do it for me. And after my fight, I like to take a week off, and then I usually feel like I want to do jujitsu now, and then I get back into it.
And last question. Everyone knows you're a happy warrior. You always keep it very positive attitude. Do you feel like that has helped you, through the ebbs and flows of a career where, you're going to face ups and downs. You're not going to win every fight. You have to be able to come back from losses, because we do see some people kind of stick with that loss, and that negativity kind of overwhelms them. And you have such a positive attitude. Like, do you feel like that does help you move forward in your career and kind of go through those roller coaster ride that is MMA?
I think so. They say the mental game is most of the battle, but I think that really refers to kind of pushing yourself to train and to, do things you don't necessarily want to do to get the win or to get stronger. Thinking positively and encouraging yourself is also very important. If, I like to say that if you train hard, you don't always win, but if you never train hard and you don't believe in yourself, you'll never win. So yeah, keeping a positive attitude is absolutely a key for me.
Thank you, Roxy.
Thanks so much, Roxanne. Those are all the questions we had for you.
Okay, thanks for having me.
We now welcome UFC light heavyweight Ed Herman. Ed, thank you for the time today, sir.
Yep, no problem.
We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press.
Hey, Ed. First of all, there have been so many twists and turns with opponents. How would you describe the relief to finally be at Fight Week?
Well, I was at Fight Week last time too, and I found out the day of, my fight was canceled. So I'm not counting anything until I step in that cage.
I mean, when you've had that happen, look, I'd be stressed if I were you, because everything's been, so temperamental with getting to fight night. How do you push a lot of that stress out of the way so you can be in the right mind frame to compete at your best?
Well, not giving a fuck. I'm like, hey, it is what it is. New opponent, this, that. I've been doing this for 20 years, man. So all kinds of shit's happened over the years. So I'm just like, where I'm at in my career, each fight could be my last. You never know, with injuries and things going down with all this COVID stuff, and fires burning and tornadoes and hurricanes. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? All I know is Saturday night, I'm going to go in there and get the job done, and that's all I can do.
You've been in the UFC so long. You've been through, I believe Spike, and then Fox, and now ESPN, and now we're in the pandemic era. How would you describe it for you? You've fought in so many different eras of the UFC.
It's kind of weird to think about sometimes, because time flies and you just live in life, and it doesn't really sink in until I sit back and think about it, how long I've been doing this. So I'm just trying to enjoy the moment. There's a lot of years where I let the nerves get to me, and just the uncomfortableness of doing what we do, and really, like I said, just not taking it too serious. Take it serious, but just like it is what it is. Let's do what we got to do, and I'm gonna train and try to stay healthy. And things are gonna happen, in life. Things are gonna happen. Bad things happen, to good people. Bad luck, whatever. So I'm just riding the wave, man, and just trying to enjoy my time while I'm here, so I can look back someday and say that I enjoyed it, and have good memories.
Does it feel like a throwback to The Ultimate Fighter? Small cage, no fans, not too many people, anything like that?
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I'll tell you after I fight on Saturday, because I haven't had the opportunity to fight in the Apex yet with no fans. So it's going to be a little weird, but we'll see, Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's weird times.
Most guys hope to have a career as long as yours in the UFC. Can you pinpoint it to any particular thing or any particular secret as to why you've been able to be one of those guys in there for so long?
Well, because I'm one of the real BMS, for one. And for two, yeah, man, this is just what I do, when I was younger, I didn't, maybe take care of myself as good as I should have, So these days, being a little older and more mature, I take care of my body better. I eat better. I work on my recovery more. I don't party like I did when I was a kid. Just all those little things add up. my family and my friends and my team are of the most importance to me, and you push the rest out, so you just trust the people who are around you, who are gonna have your back, and just like I'm with the same coaches. You don't see me jumping around different coaches. I got the same crew, for years. I mean, I've moved a few times, like back to Colorado and back out to Oregon, but I think staying with your people and letting things develop and trusting your people, really.
Last one for me. What does Mike Rodriguez bring as an opponent?
He's got some youth, he's got some height, he's a left-handed guy, so it's a little different than some other guys I've fought. I'm excited for the fight. He likes to get in the clinch and battle, and so do I. So I think we're gonna have some fun and give the crowd and everybody an awesome fight. So I'm really excited to get in there. Mike seems like a nice guy, which is cool. I'm not like an angry type of fighter guy, so it's cool to like be a sportsman and go in there and not really have animosity towards a guy. Sometimes I compete better like that. So it's kind of it's good. I'm excited for the fight.
Thank you, Ed. Good luck.
Ciao.
And we will take our next questions from Danny Segura with MMA Junkie. Sorry, one second.
Can you hear me?
Yo,
Hello?
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying, like, you've been around the sport for quite some time. This whole thing's crazy with the pandemic. Plus, like, I think you've had a very unique case with all the bouts that have fallen through. Would you say this is like the craziest thing you've witnessed in the last few weeks? Like the craziest period of your fight career?
Yes, it kind of reminds me of like the beginning of my career when you wouldn't even know who your opponent was. You'd always have like changes. There was no like the internet wasn't like it is now with all the social media. I think we had MySpace back then, so it's like it reminds me of that a little bit, and just kind of with the changes and just like whatever it is, what it is. Whoever they're gonna put in front of me, I'm gonna be ready for.
Yeah. Has all these bouts falling through, has it made you more eager to get in there? Like, do you feel like, I don't know, do you feel any differently heading into this fight because all the missed opportunities?
Not really. Like at first when the Mershart fight originally fell through back in July, it was pretty frustrating, but I kind of got my head right and just got back to training, and I think I went through 5 opponents for this
Yeah.
fight. So after the first or second one, I was kind of just like, whatever, what are you gonna do? So like, I'm fighting somebody. Hopefully they'll get me somebody. I'm gonna be ready. So
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier how, with all the craziness that's going on in the world, like any fight could be your last fight. But if you could give us sort of a timeline, do you feel like you're sort of wrapping up here in your career? How many fights do you have left in your fight career?
I don't know, man. Like I said, one at a time right now is the way I'm looking at it. After this fight, I'll get back home. I'll assess the situation with my team and my family, and my health is the most important. So as long as I can compete at this level and stay healthy, I'm gonna keep doing it, man. I'm finally making some good money, so I'm gonna try to keep stacking chips until it's the end.
For sure. And is it like a thing where you're just willing to fight anybody, or do you kind of have like a bucket list and certain things you want to accomplish, or certain fighters you'd like to fight?
It don't matter to me. I'll fight anybody really. I used to care about the rankings and try to work my way up the rankings and all this stuff, but today with all this craziness, I feel like none of that even matters, man. It's like who's healthy and who's ready to fight. So obviously I'd like to work my way up the rankings and get another title shot. If those are in the cards and I can keep making a run here, freaking awesome, man. So it is what it is, man. I'm trying to just take it one fight at a time, which for me it helps me mentally. I don't put as much stress on myself that way. So just enjoying the moment and here to kick some ass until I can't do it anymore.
For sure. All right, man. I appreciate the time. Best of luck this weekend.
Right on.
And we will take our next set of questions from Stephen Morocco with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Ed, how has ATT Portland been affected by the fires?
By the fires? I heard the power was out and for a couple days or a day maybe, because we had some windstorms going on and stuff too. But I don't think the fires have affected the gym. You know, there's a lot going on in our city right now, so you know, it's crazy times, crazy times.
Did you get out of town before the crap really hit the fan?
Like with the fires and the windstorm? Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. It was pretty windy the day I left. You know, the plane was rocking around. It was kind of a little scary, but the fires didn't really start happening until like pretty much the day I left, I think. You know, all that other chaos going on, like in Portland and stuff, has been going on for a while. So.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have family in Washington? Have you or your family been affected by any of these fires or displaced by them?
So I live actually in Vancouver, Washington, which is just, you know, a suburb of Portland, Oregon. So I train in both states, you know, I like depending on what I'm doing. But I have tons of family all over. Nobody's been directly affected. I have a lot of friends who are under, you know, like level 2 evacuations. I have some other friends who have already evacuated. So it's definitely affecting the community and people that I know and stuff like that. But direct family members, no, not yet. My dad lives out in the country a little bit, so I'm a little worried about him because he's a little older and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty sad, man. People are losing their homes. People are losing their lives. It's really sad to see.
How would you describe your 2020 overall?
2020 has been pretty fucked, man. I've had 3 full fight camps and I haven't fought yet. I fight Saturday, great. That's one fight, but I had 3 full fight camps with not making any money and not getting to fight. So I mean, I'm in the best shape of my life almost, I feel like. So that's cool, but at the same time, nobody likes working a half a year and not getting paid. So it's been a little rough financially in that sense. And then again, with all the, you know, the rioting and just all the chaos between people, like politics, splitting families apart. Like me and my brother don't even talk, you know, it's because we're on, you know, we have different ideas of what the hell's going on. And it's been pretty fucked, man, honestly.
Well, you said you and your brother don't talk. Which side are you on?
No comment.
All right, man. Well, take it easy, man. I hope to see you back in Portland soon.
All right.
Thank you so much, Ed. That is all the time we had for you, sir.
Cool.